Hey everybody, Dave Weiss here for the Glue Bomb Show. Well, as you've heard in my unboxing video, there has been a model that I have wanted to build for a very long time. I got this kit for the first time when I was 10 years old. My parents got it for me for Christmas. I thought there was no way they'd get it for me for Christmas because it was really expensive. It cost like $7. And they surprised me with it under the tree. And I built it. And the way I built it, it looked like a 10-year-old built it, right? But I have wanted to build that kit ever since. I looked it up on eBay. Every time I found it on eBay, it was pretty expensive. And I was really concerned that all those big cool billboard decals were going to be crap. So I never picked one up at the elevated price. And then my friends in Atlantis repopped it. And of course, I went right out and I got one. And I am so excited to have it. Now, the issue with wanting to build this kit was the fact that I knew it was going to put my schedule for these videos way behind. Because, of course, this isn't one you build in 2 weeks. Or 3 weeks or whatever. This is one that's going to take some time. Now, I was talking to my friend Chuck Darnell about this, and Chuck said, well, why do you have to have the whole thing built? Why can't you talk about it in sections? And I thought about that, and I thought, that's a great idea. I remember listening to guys on Plastic Model Mojo, and they often talk about treating the individual steps of the instructions as if it were a separate model. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give little reviews a little bit at a time, and hopefully there will be like 2 or 3 videos, and then you will see the finished product. So let me show you what I've been working on so far. We're going to start off with this amazing body. Again, this thing is pretty huge. It's large, and I started by putting on, very simply, this front part. The front, I think they call that a valance, and the back part. Now, this kit is very nicely molded. There was very little flash. I had to do a little bit of sanding, but very little. And the only other thing is I want to run a little bead of putty around these seams just to kind of clean them up a little bit more. Now, to be honest, I wouldn't have to do that. It is pretty tight. It is pretty close. But again, this is one that has sentimental value to me, and I want to make it as good as I possibly can. So I'm going to try really hard to make it clean. So I didn't even put the interior parts in here yet. I'm not doing that because as soon as I have these seams worked out a little bit, I'm going to take this whole thing and paint it. I'm going to put those billboard decals on it, right? Well, I'm going to paint the interior first, then put the billboard decals on it, and then I'm going to clear coat it to make sure those decals are pretty safe. And then we'll put those other parts in. So it's going to be a little bit. Needless to say, if all I had put together was these 3 parts, there would not be an update video yet. I'm not going to go that simple, all right? Instead, I'm going to share this with you. This was the big project. This is what's taking some time. The engine. Now, this engine is fully plumbed and fully wired. And other than the fact that I don't have the two hoses that go to the oil filter on here right now, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Other than that, this thing is pretty well done and ready to go in the car. So, here's what I did. Here, the only trouble that I've had with this engine is this gray tubing right here. Sorry, I just took it right off the screen. This gray tubing. Now, it's fine. It's pretty much the right size as far as I can see. The problem with it is very stiff. And I was having a hard time getting it to bend around different shapes and things. And so I thought, I put out a call on the Atlantis, one of the Atlantis message boards. I had a couple really good suggestions. I looked at a couple of those. One person said just do the whole thing with craft wire, and I kind of liked that idea. Another person said I should take like a hot hair dryer and kind of flex these tubes, by melding them a little bit. And I kind of like that idea too. But then I had another thought. The tubing fits pretty well onto the connection points. The problem is in getting them to bend without breaking those connection pins off. And so I decided, why don't I use a little bit of the tubing, make it like fittings, and find some kind of material that I can fit in here to replace the tubing itself. So use the tubing as fittings and then find something that goes between the fittings. And what I ended up finding was this braided cord at Walmart. And I thought, well, that might be just fine. Because I know for some of these things, probably not for all of them, but for some of them, these guys would use those braided hoses, right? And so I thought, if I take that cord and I paint it silver and I glue it into these little connection points, I might be able to come up with something that looks pretty decent. And I think it does. I'm pretty happy with the way these braided hoses look so far. The reason I don't have the hoses on that go to the oil filter currently is that those are drying because I painted those and I'm getting ready to put them on. Now, I've noticed that the paint has chipped off of this a little bit, so I'm going to have to touch that up, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm really pretty happy with the way it looks. Now, is it 100% accurate? I have no idea. I'm not a mechanic. I'm a model builder, and I just like the way it looks. So I'm happy with it. I'm having fun, and model building is supposed to be fun. So as you can tell, there's a lot of detail in here, and there's a lot of the situation where you slow down and take your time, right? You slow down and take your time. You let the glue dry a little bit, and you put a couple more parts on. You let the glue dry, and then you start to paint. And I'm really happy with the way this is coming together. I'm excited to see how the car finishes up. But in the meantime, I've got a pretty successful build with this. Now, the next step will be to get this body finished up and get it decorated. And then I've already started to glue the frame together as well. There's a lot more to do on that. There's some chrome suspension parts that I'm going to want to glue onto this frame and then paint around them. Because I've started to, I'm doing more gluing of the parts together and then painting. That way I'm gluing bare plastic to bare plastic. I scrape a lot of chrome in the process to make it all work, but I'm really happy with the results I'm getting. So anyway, this is the Jungle Gym update, the first one. I'm looking forward to getting a few more up here, but that's what I have for you today. Remember, guys, model building is supposed to be fun. I'm having a good time with this, and I'm hoping to be able to continue having a good time as I finish this piece up. I'm guessing we're going to have 2 or 3 more update videos like this, and I'm okay with that. Hope you are too. We'll also be doing some other builds in the meantime just to keep things interesting. All right, guys, take care. Have a great day.